Before Earth became the world we know, before oceans, continents, and life, our planet was trapped in a relentless cosmic storm. An era of destruction was about to begin. In our previous look at the moon's violent formation, we caught a fleeting glimpse of a looming cosmic storm. A terrifying, apocalyptic era known as the Late Heavy Bombardment. Today, we dive directly into the heart of that nightmare. We are traveling back roughly 4.1 billion years. Earth and its massive new moon had just begun to cool down. The initial fiery chaos of planetary formation seemed to be ending. But out in the freezing darkness, doom was gathering. To understand why the sky suddenly fell on Earth, we must look far beyond our own neighborhood. We have to look deep into the freezing outer solar system, where the true giants of our cosmic family were waking up. The early solar system was dangerously overcrowded. Beyond the asteroid belt lay billions of ancient icy comets, and orbiting among them were the massive gas giants: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. According to a leading scientific theory known as the NICE model, these massive gas giants did not form where they are today. They were packed much tighter together in the early solar system, and their gravitational balance was incredibly unstable. Around 4.1 billion years ago, a fatal shift occurred. Jupiter and Saturn locked into a dangerous gravitational resonance. For every 2 orbits Jupiter made, Saturn made exactly 1. This synchronized dance acted like a massive cosmic engine. The combined gravity of these 2 titans was devastating. It sent massive gravitational shockwaves through the outer system, violently destabilizing the orbits of billions of comets and tearing the ancient Kuiper belt completely apart. The sky was suddenly filled with cosmic shrapnel. Billions of tons of ice and rock broke free from their orbits. They were hurled inward, accelerating rapidly toward the sun, and the inner planets were sitting directly in the crossfire. This was the exact spark that ignited the Late Heavy Bombardment, an unimaginable swarm of ancient planetary debris, hurtling through the vacuum of space at blinding speeds, aimed directly at our fragile, recovering world. But before the impacts begin, we must address a scientific mystery. The exact timeline of this event is highly debated among geologists today. Was it a sudden, concentrated spike of total destruction? Or was it a slow, continuous rain of fire over millions of years? For decades, scientists believed in the terminal cataclysm, a sudden violent spike in asteroid impacts exactly 3.9 billion years ago. This was based entirely on the melted rocks brought back by Apollo astronauts. But modern geologists are rewriting this dramatic story. Newer models suggest the bombardment wasn't a sudden spike at all. Instead, it was a prolonged, agonizing siege, stretching continuously from 4.1 all the way down to 3.8 billion years ago. A relentless nightmare from which there was absolutely no escape. Regardless of how exactly the timeline played out, the sheer physical devastation remains an absolute scientific fact. The inner solar system became an inescapable kill zone, and our newly formed moon was the very first victim. Up until this point, the young moon was relatively smooth. Its magma ocean had cooled into a pristine shell of dark rock. But because the moon has absolutely no atmosphere, it possessed zero defense against the incoming swarm. The silence of space was shattered by blinding flashes of light. Massive, city-sized asteroids slammed into the lunar surface, vaporizing instantly upon impact with the crust, and blasting millions of tons of lunar rock into orbit. The moon was hammered relentlessly, day after day, year after year. These impacts were so incredibly powerful and deep, they punched entirely through the moon's solid outer crust, exposing the liquid magma that was still hiding underneath. As these colossal impact craters were blown wide open, molten rock bled upward from the lunar interior, slowly flooding the massive impact basins with dark lava, creating the dark patches, or Maria, that we still see today. But while the moon took a horrific, permanent beating, it is actually a fraction of the size of the Earth. Our planet has immensely more gravitational pull, meaning Earth was about to suffer a much worse fate. Earth's immense gravity acted like a cosmic vacuum cleaner, pulling the vast majority of the lethal swarm directly toward us. For every one asteroid that struck the lunar surface, dozens more were pulled directly into Earth's path. If you were standing on the surface of the early Earth, you would look up and see the entire sky set on fire. Thousands of blazing meteors streaking through the atmosphere. A relentless, deafening roar of impending doom. When these behemoths struck the Earth, the oceans literally boiled. Massive tsunamis of superheated water stretched miles into the sky. The sheer kinetic energy released upon impact was enough to instantly vaporize millions of gallons of seawater. The Earth's thin, cooling crust was violently fractured. The impacts literally cracked the planet's outer shell wide open, allowing the boiling mantle to spill back out onto the surface, plunging the Earth back into a state of molten chaos. For tens of millions of years, there was absolutely no reprieve. Scientists estimate that over 20,000 massive craters, each larger than 20 kilometers wide, were blasted into the Earth. The surface became a completely unrecognizable hellscape. It was a complete and total planetary reset. Any fragile prebiotic chemistry that had begun to form was instantly sterilized by the extreme heat and pressure. The Earth was essentially being melted back down to its core. The atmosphere was choked with millions of tons of pulverized rock. A suffocating blanket of dark gray dust and toxic ash completely enshrouded the planet, blocking out the sun entirely, plunging the world into a horrific freezing darkness. Massive electrical storms raged within the global ash cloud. Lightning violently illuminated the destroyed, glowing red crust below. It seemed as though the planet had been permanently killed. But within this apocalyptic destruction lies a massive paradox. While the Late Heavy Bombardment sterilized the surface, it was also delivering the exact ingredients necessary for life. A cosmic delivery system disguised as the end of the world, bringing the most precious resources in the universe. Many of the impactors raining down were not just dry rocks. They were icy comets originating from the freezing outer rim. Locked within their deep freeze were massive amounts of water, and crucially, complex organic carbon molecules. As millions of these icy bodies burned up in our atmosphere, they vaporized, releasing their trapped water directly into the sky. They were literally pumping oceans of moisture into the air, replacing all the water that the early impacts had violently boiled away. And along with the water, they delivered the seeds of biology. Amino acids, the fundamental building blocks of DNA, have been found preserved deep inside these ancient meteorites. The bombardment was aggressively fertilizing a dying planet. These cosmic chemicals mixed with the cooling magma and water, creating highly complex, primordial pools across the shattered crust. The very ingredients needed to spark biological life were forged in the fires of planetary destruction. But a storm of this magnitude cannot last forever. As we approached 3.8 billion years ago, the violence began to wane. The chaotic debris in the inner solar system began to clear. The massive swarm of comets and asteroids had exhausted itself. The gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn, finally settled into stable orbits. Their massive disruptive gravitational shockwaves ceased, and the cosmic slingshot that had caused so much devastation was finally powered down for good. The relentless rain of fire slowly faded into a trickle. The moon, heavily scarred and permanently disfigured, was left in absolute silence in the dark sky, a permanent monument to the violence of the early solar system. Back on Earth, the thick canopy of ash began to settle. The blocked sunlight finally pierced through the dark clouds, illuminating a world that had survived the ultimate test. Battered, bruised, and completely reshaped, the extreme surface temperatures finally began to plummet. The massive lakes of boiling magma inside the impact craters slowly hardened back into a thick, solid crust of black basalt, preparing the foundation for the next chapter. As the planet's temperature dropped below the boiling point, the massive amounts of water delivered by the comets condensed, and the skies opened up in a relentless, torrential downpour, washing over the scarred and broken continents. This great rain lasted for thousands of years without stopping. Flash floods rushed through the newly formed impact canyons, washing the toxic ash and pulverized rock away, and carrying vast amounts of rich minerals across the globe. The deep wounds inflicted by the asteroids became reservoirs. The massive impact basin slowly filled with fresh, cool water, merging together to form brand new global oceans, covering the scars of the bombardment beneath the waves. The Earth had officially transitioned out of the hellish Hadean Eon, entering a brand new, stable chapter of planetary history. The Archean Eon had dawned, and the fires were finally out. The planet was a deep, vast water world once again. Beneath the surface of these newly formed oceans, the cosmic chemicals delivered by the comets were mixing. The amino acids and organic carbons were safely shielded, protected from the harsh radiation of the young sun above. The Late Heavy Bombardment was the ultimate paradox of creation. It was a terrifying, apocalyptic nightmare that nearly destroyed us. But it was also the ultimate catalyst for existence, a necessary evil to prepare the planet for biology. Without that precise, violent delivery of water and organics, without the constant churning and cracking of the Earth's crust, the deep-sea vents would have never been fueled, and the chemical soup would have remained entirely dead. Earth would have remained a dry, barren wasteland forever, much like the silent, dead surface of our moon today. The universe had to violently tear the world apart, just to put the pieces exactly where they needed to be. And now the pieces were perfectly in place. The massive moon stabilized the planet's rotation. The deep oceans provided a protective, stable incubator. And the comets had delivered the raw fuel for life. The era of cosmic bombardment was finally over. The Earth had survived its most violent trial. And as the sun rose over the silent, endless waves, the planet was finally ready to wake up. The skies above were finally clear and empty. The threat from the outer solar system had passed, leaving behind a quiet, bruised, but resilient world, ready to begin the greatest experiment in the universe. The rocks were set, the water was poured, the chemicals mixed. The Late Heavy Bombardment had ended, and the true history of Earth was just beginning to unfold. A history written not in fire, but in biology. The violent era that shaped our world is etched into the moon. The life it made possible is etched into us. We are the direct result of the sky falling, the children of a cosmic catastrophe. The Earth was no longer just a spinning rock. It was a dynamic, active, and complex system. A world uniquely engineered by chaos to become the only known home for life in the void. Whenever you look up at the dark patches on the moon, remember the terrifying storm that created them, and remember the incredible, impossible journey that our planet endured to bring us into existence. Two worlds, bound together by gravity and violence, one left dead and scarred to tell the story, the other left bruised, but teeming with potential. A perfect, delicate balance born from absolute destruction. The solar system had found its peace at last. The orbits were locked, the debris was cleared. The grand, violent construction phase was complete, and the universe simply watched and waited. Out of billions of galaxies and countless stars, this one specific sequence of violent events happened exactly when and where it needed to turn a barren rock into an oasis. The fires of the Hadean Eon are gone forever. The Late Heavy Bombardment is a ghost in the rocks, and the silent, deep oceans of the Archean hold the ultimate secret of our origins. The stage is perfectly set. The fuel has been delivered, the oceans are calm, and the world is waiting for the spark of life.